again everybody, and welcome to Carlos Cooks. Today I'm going to make a cake. I'm going to make Rick Stein's German apple cake. A cake I've made many times and I love it. Very simple to make, a little bit of prep involved, but only 40 minutes in the oven and you're going to have something beautiful. So we're just going to go through the ingredients because I've prepped them ahead of time. So the first and most important thing is the apples for the top, and we're using these dessert apples, two sort of medium-sized ones of those, which I've peeled and cored and then sliced up, ready to go onto the top. So you can see they're just the crescent slices, and these are soaking in water and lemon juice so that they don't go brown before they go in the on top of the cake. And then for the cake mixture itself, we've got 225 grams of plain flour. We've got some butter which has been melted, pretty much melted all the way through. 125 grams of that. We've got 140 grams of light brown sugar, 3 free-range eggs. We've got some 2 teaspoons of baking powder and half a teaspoon of salt. And then to go on top of the cake, we've got a mixture of dark brown demerara sugar, 2 tablespoons of that, and half a teaspoon of cinnamon mixed in. And this gets sprinkled on top of the apples once the cake is finished, and before we put it in the oven, and it produces a lovely sort of cinnamony glaze over those apples that caramelize. And then after the cake is finished baking, before it cools down, I'm going to give it a glaze with a melted marmalade and sugar and hot water syrup that I'm going to make. Now we bake it in one of these. This is I think it's about a 10 inch spring-loaded cake tin, and it's been greased well with butter, so the cake is not going to stick. So we'll start making the cake, but first of all let's put the oven on. Now fan oven, so it's going on at 150 degrees Celsius. We'll preheat that, ready for the cake. So now I'm going to start mixing the ingredients. I'm going to use a mixing bowl, but also going to use a electric hand mixer to do the first part. So we're going to put the first set of ingredients in to the mixing bowl and get cracking. Okay, so first item to be mixed with the hand mixer is the sugar and the butter. So we just tip that into a bowl. A bit sticky in the bottom. And the butter. Now we're just going to very gently, on a slow mixing speed, just mix those together. And once they're incorporated like that, we're going to add the eggs in. Try to get your eggs at room temperature if you can, not just straight out of the fridge. And then we're going to blend those in as well until it's nice and smooth and creamy. Way. We want it to go pale and fluffy at this stage, sort of lighter in colour. Okay, so that should do. Now we're going to add the flour and also our baking powder and salt. And we've also got, which we're going to add slowly once we've blended these ingredients together, we've got 5 tablespoons of whole full fat milk as well. But on a very slow speed now because the flour will go everywhere. Just going to incorporate that gently until all the flour's mixed into the eggs and the sugar and the butter. It will be very stiff at this stage because it's the milk that's going to loosen it up, as you can see. But as soon as you can see it's all starting to mix in like that, you just add the milk bit by bit. So we'll add a little bit of milk and then mix that in. Just keep going until you've got all the milk in and you've got a nice smooth batter. Bit more milk. I think we can finish that off now and add the rest. And just get that all mixed in. Just keep mixing on a high speed now until you've got a nice smooth batter and everything's incorporated. So everything's all mixed in now. So we're going to transfer that to our spring-loaded cake tin. Okay, it's all in the cake tin now. So the next step is to layer the apples on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay them and slightly overlap them, starting on the outside ring, and just swirl in until I get to the middle, and then stop. So I'll do that now and then show you what it looks like. Once you've got all the apples fanned out over the top, you just put the fine little pieces in the middle just to close it off. It's time to sprinkle the demerara sugar and cinnamon mix. cake's been in for 15 minutes or so. So we've got another 15 minutes until I'll have a look at it and see how it's doing. Maybe just twist it round in the oven so it can evenly bake in there. But what I've started doing on the hob is just got a small saucepan, and in here I've put just about 50 ml of water, and I've also sprinkled in some more of the dark demerara sugar, about a dessert spoon in there, and melted it, and then I've added 2 heaped teaspoons of Seville orange marmalade, and I've brought that to the boil, and I'm just simmering it now, so it's going to just reduce down to a nice syrupy glaze. And once the cake comes out, we're going to douse it in that with a pastry brush and just give it a nice sheen. So that can just simmer away for a little bit until it's done. Okay, took about 35 minutes in the oven. We just stick the fork in and see it's coming out. It's coming out fairly clean. That is a bit dirty from where I used it earlier, but it is baked and it is done. So all that's left to do is glaze it with the glaze that I've got there, that's nice and thick and syrupy now. But before I do that, I'd just like to dedicate this video to my great uncle Rolf and my great aunt Christa in Bergedorf in Germany. My uncle Rolf recently passed away, and so my thoughts are with my auntie Christa and all my German family in Bergedorf that I met last year on a wonderful trip to Hamburg. So you're in our thoughts and in our prayers. So let's get this Seville orange marmalade glaze all over this cake. It's nice and warm still, the glaze, as you can see, so it's going to make it quite easy to apply it, but you do need to go gentle still because the apple may dislodge. Just give it a nice thick coating all over. It not only gives it a good sheen that it looks nicer if you're using it on your table or whatever, but it does add a bit of extra flavour as well to the apple, especially the Seville orange that's been melted with some more dark demerara sugar. So we just give that a nice coating all over like that. You can see that does look a lot more better in the light, doesn't it? So that's it finished. Now all I will do now is leave that to cool for a bit, and then I will take a sharp knife and just go around the outside edge and release that spring, probably in about an hour or so when it's had time to cool, and then just leave it. Tomorrow my daughter's coming over, so we're going to have a slice of this, and hopefully she'll bring some thick Madagascar vanilla cream or an equivalent with her, and it'll go lovely with it, and we'll just warm that up again. But just have a loving close-up at that beautiful German apple and cinnamon cake. It really is delicious, so easy to make. It'll impress your friends or your guests, so have a go at making it. So I'll see you next time.